You have cut out sugar, reduced your salt intake, and maintained a consistent exercise routine. Yet your heart continues to weaken every year. It might be because you're still eating one of these 5 foods, the silent heart killers cleverly disguised as diet-friendly or healthy. I'm a cardiologist, and throughout more than 20 years of practice, I've met countless patients who came to me confused and disappointed. They'd say, "Doctor, I've been eating carefully. Why am I still dealing with blocked arteries?" They had reduced their sugar intake, cut back on salt, and even given up red meat. But unknowingly, they were putting things into their bodies that looked healthy on the outside, but were slowly damaging their artery linings from within. This creates the perfect environment for plaque buildup, blood vessel inflammation, and cholesterol imbalances to develop over time. The issue isn't willpower. It's about a false sense of awareness. Some foods wear labels like low-fat, cholesterol-free, or heart-healthy, but inside they're packed with refined carbs, trans fats, and artificial flavorings. These are all primary triggers for inflammation and quietly increase your risk of a heart attack. In today's first part, I'll reveal 5 foods that many older adults in America still believe are good for their health, but are silent heart attack warning signs. I'll also give you safe, easy-to-follow, and clinically proven alternatives to help you prevent a heart attack effectively. 1. Refined sugar and high fructose corn syrup, the sweetheart killers. I once had an elderly patient who was very serious about his diet: no red meat at all, no alcohol, regular workouts. But when we did an artery scan, his blood vessels were still thickening and plaque had started to build up. The problem stemmed from something he had overlooked entirely: refined sugar and high fructose corn syrup, HFCS. These 2 heart killers are hidden in everyday foods such as ketchup, breakfast cereals, canned fruit juice, and even those so-called low-fat cookies made for dieters. When you consume these sugars, your insulin levels spike to manage the glucose in your blood. However, if this happens daily, such as sipping a soda or having a slice of cake after lunch, your body gradually becomes insulin resistant. That excess sugar doesn't just disappear. Your liver converts it into visceral fat, which accumulates around your heart, liver, and abdomen. At the same time, silent inflammation spreads through your blood vessels. This is one of the leading causes of atherosclerosis and can eventually trigger a heart attack. According to the American Heart Association, adults who consume more than 1 gram of sugar per day increase their risk of dying from cardiovascular diseases. The solution is simple. If you're looking for something sweet, go for whole fruits. Choose ones with a low glycemic index like apples, blueberries, or grapefruit. And if you're thirsty, avoid canned juice or diet soda. Try unsweetened herbal tea or just plain water with a few slices of lemon. Always read food labels carefully. If you see ingredients like corn syrup, fructose, or glucose, put it back. And if sugar is damaging your arteries from the inside, the oil you cook with every day might be doing even worse. Refined vegetable oils have been linked to early warning signs of heart attack and long-term damage to the arteries. 2. Refined vegetable oils, the golden liquid that's inflaming your heart. I once saw an older woman frying her morning eggs in corn oil. She proudly told me, "Doctor, I use vegetable oil because it doesn't have cholesterol." But the problem was never about cholesterol. The real danger was what this refined vegetable oil was quietly doing to her blood vessels. Canola, soybean, corn, cottonseed, these familiar names are all loaded with omega-6, a type of polyunsaturated fat. While omega-6 is essential in small amounts, it becomes harmful when it's out of balance with omega-3. That imbalance is common in American diets, especially with the high intake of fried and processed foods. The result is chronic inflammation, which damages the inner lining of arteries and paves the way for plaque formation. According to research from Harvard T.H. Chan. School of Public Health, regularly consuming these oils significantly increases the risk of heart disease, especially in older adults. Additionally, when these oils are heated, especially at high temperatures, such as those used for frying, they oxidize easily, producing harmful free radicals. These free radicals further damage the vessel walls, restrict blood flow, and sharply raise the risk of a heart attack. You don't have to give up frying altogether. You need to switch your oil. Try extra virgin olive oil, which has been proven to support heart health and is rich in polyphenols and antioxidants. For high heat cooking, coconut oil is a more stable choice. Avocado oil is also a fantastic option for sautéing or roasting. It's heart-friendly and easy to digest. And if you're thinking about spreading margarine on your morning toast, stop right there. Up next, you're going to learn about an artificial fat that can damage your cardiovascular system, even in tiny amounts. 3. Margarine and trans fat, the imposters that harden your arteries. I once asked an elderly gentleman, "Why not use real butter instead of margarine every morning?" He replied, "Because margarine has no cholesterol." That answer broke my heart because margarine, once marketed as heart-friendly, is one of the most dangerous culprits behind artery hardening in older adults. Margarine contains a type of artificial fat known as trans fat. It's the result of partially hydrogenating vegetable oil, a process that turns liquid oil into solid fat to extend shelf life. But that chemical modification twists the fat molecules into a form our bodies, especially the heart, can't recognize or process properly. Research from both the FDA and the American Heart Association has shown that trans fat raises bad cholesterol. LDL lowers good cholesterol, HDL, and triggers inflammation and endothelial damage. These are key factors in the development of heart attack and stroke. Even more concerning, trans fat damages the mitochondria, the powerhouses of our cells. When energy production breaks down, the heart weakens, particularly in older adults whose cardiovascular system is already compromised. So what's the fix? Instead of margarine or cheap blended spreads, try using a small amount of real butter, especially grass-fed butter rich in vitamin K2, which supports heart health. Want something even better? Opt for natural nut butter like almond butter or peanut butter, which are free from added sugar and oils. And if you're wondering what to spread it on, maybe it's time to rethink that slice of white bread too. What looks like just simple carbs may be secretly pushing your insulin and blood pressure way beyond healthy levels. That kind of spike can easily lead to early heart attack warning signs even when you think you're eating light. 4. white bread, and refined grains. The sweet traitors of your heart. We often think of white bread, white rice, or breakfast cereals as soft, gentle foods. They're easy to chew and digest, especially for older adults. However, what many people don't realize is that these same foods are silent drivers of blood sugar imbalances, insulin resistance, and ultimately a weakened heart. White bread and refined grains are stripped of most of their fiber, B vitamins, and key minerals during processing. Once inside your body, they break down almost instantly into glucose, causing a rapid spike in blood sugar. That spike triggers a surge of insulin. According to the Framingham Heart Study, people who regularly eat refined grains have a much higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, and abdominal obesity. All of these are major risk factors for a heart attack. For people over 60, unstable blood sugar doesn't just lead to fatigue or dizziness. It can also cause more severe health issues. It also affects blood flow to the brain and coronary arteries, two of the most vulnerable areas when glucose levels fluctuate excessively during the day. The solution doesn't eliminate carbs. It's switching to better sources such as whole oats, brown rice, 100% whole wheat bread, or quinoa. These complex carbs have a lower glycemic index and are rich in soluble fiber. That helps slow down sugar absorption, control LDL cholesterol, and support a more stable cardiovascular system. If you've been feeling sluggish after meals, gaining belly fat even when eating less, or your latest labs showed a slight bump in HbA1c, it might be time to take a hard look at how much refined grain is sneaking into your diet. You might not touch cake or soda, but 2 slices of white bread every morning would be forcing your heart to work overtime to get through the day. And if you think eating less is the fix, the next part might surprise you. Because there's one more type of food that can trigger acute blood vessel inflammation, and it doesn't take much of it to push you closer to a heart attack. 5. Processed meats. The hidden culprit in the American kitchen. In over 20 years as a cardiologist, I've rarely seen a food that causes more silent damage to blood vessels than processed meats. Sausages, hot dogs, deli meats, and bacon are not just popular breakfast picks or backyard BBQ staples. They are ticking time bombs for sudden cardiac events. The problem isn't just the saturated fat. It's also the nitrate preservatives that extend shelf life, but silently destroy the lining of your arteries and generate powerful oxidizing agents. According to the World Health Organization, eating just 50 grams of processed meat per day can raise your risk of cardiovascular disease and stroke by 18%. What's worse, these meats often come packaged with refined sugar, trans fat, and artificial coloring, forcing your immune system to battle constant waves of both acute and chronic inflammation. The result: unchecked plaque buildup, rising blood pressure, and an elevated chance of a heart attack. So what's the practical solution? You don't have to give up meat entirely. Just swap it for cleaner, less processed sources of protein such as grilled chicken, baked salmon, canned sardines in water, or dishes made with organic tofu or beans. These options are rich in omega-3s, easier to digest, and free from harmful additives. Suppose you've ever wondered why your cholesterol levels remain high, or why your blood pressure won't stabilize even with a strict diet and regular exercise. In that case, it's time to examine what you're eating for breakfast. Sometimes the cause of a heart attack isn't in the frying pan. It's in the innocent-looking pack of sausages you grabbed from the fridge. The heart doesn't complain. It doesn't speak up the way a headache or swollen joints do. But it remembers. It remembers every meal you feed your body and every time your arteries have to fight off inflammation and blockage. If you've realized today that you've eaten some of the foods we just talked about, don't be discouraged. It's not because you didn't try hard enough. It's because real information is often drowned out by marketing and habit. What matters now is that you know better, so you can choose better. And this journey to care for your heart is far from over. In part 2 of this series, I'll reveal 5 more foods that seem harmless but quietly affect your blood pressure, cholesterol, and risk of stroke. Especially number 9, it's shockingly common on most dinner tables, yet hardly anyone suspects it. Follow this channel and stay tuned for the next episode. You might learn something that helps you live healthier longer and with more ease each day. I'll see you in part 2.